welcome to Season 2, the official podcast of the Fish Wrapper publication. Our goal is to bring you story content to inspire, encourage, and uplift the soul. It's our hope you find these stories refreshing, thought-provoking, and motivating as you face the challenges of everyday life. So turn us up and tune your ears, and let's get started by jumping right into the story.
An Impulsive Invitation by Lucy Maud Montgomery, read by Deborah Mead. It was a gloomy Saturday morning. The trees on the Oak Lawn school grounds were tossing wildly in the gusts of wind. Brown leaves were blown up against the windows of the library, where a score of girls was waiting for the principal to bring in the mail. The big room echoed with the pleasant sounds of low laughter. Soon, the school would close for the holidays, and they were all talking about their plans and anticipations. Ruth Mannering was, as usual, sitting by herself near one of the windows, looking out on the misty lawn. She was a pale, slender girl with a sad face, dressed in rather shabby black. She had no special friends at Oak Lawn, and the girls did not know much about her. If they had thought about it at all, they would have decided that they did not like her. But for the most part, they simply overlooked her. Ruth was poor and apparently friendless, but it was not her poverty that was against her. In fact, Lou Scott, who was as poor as a church mouse, to quote her own frank admission, was the most popular girl in the seminary, a companion of the richest girls and in demand with everyone. But Lou was jolly and frank and offhanded, while Ruth was painfully shy and reserved. That was the secret of the whole matter. There was no fun in her, the girls said. So it came about that she was left out of their social life and was almost as solitary at Oak Lawn as if she were the only girl there. She was there for the special purpose of studying music and expected to earn her own living by teaching it when she left. She believed that the girls looked down on her on this account. This was unjust, of course, but Ruth had no idea how much her own coldness and reserve worked against her. Across the room, Carol Golden was the center of an animated group. Her particular friends called her Golden Carol, partly because of her beautiful voice and partly because of her wonderful fleece of golden hair. Carol was one of the seminary pets and seemed to Ruth to have everything that she had not. The mail was brought in, and there was a rush to the table, followed by exclamations of satisfaction or disappointment. In a few minutes, the room was almost deserted. Only two girls remained, Carol Golden, who had dropped into a big chair to read her many letters, and Ruth, who had not received any letters and had gone silently back to her window. Carol gave a little cry of delight. Her mother had written that she might invite a friend home for the holidays. Carol had asked for this permission, and now that it had come, was ready to dance for joy. As to whom she would ask, there could be only one person. Of course, it must be her particular friend, Maud Russell. She was the cleverest and prettiest girl at Oak Lawn, at least so her admirers said, and she was undoubtedly the richest and the acknowledged leader. The girls affectionately called her Princess, and Carol adored her with that affection that is found only among schoolgirls. She also knew that Maud would surely accept her invitation, because she did not intend to go home. Her parents were traveling in Europe, and she expected to spend the holidays with some cousins who were almost strangers to her. Carol was so pleased that she felt she must talk to someone, so she turned to Ruth. "Isn't it delightful to think that we'll all be going home in 2 weeks?" "Yes, very, for those who have a home to go to," said Ruth drearily. Carol felt a quick pang of pity and self-reproach. "Haven't you?" she asked. Ruth shook her head. In spite of herself, the kindness of Carol's tone brought tears to her eyes. "My mother died a year ago," she said in a trembling voice. "And since then, I've had no real home. We were quite alone in the world, Mother and I. Now I have no one." "Oh, I'm so sorry for you," cried Carol impulsively. She leaned forward and took Ruth's hand in a gentle way. "Do you mean to say that you'll have to stay here all through the holidays? Why, that will be horrid." "Oh, I shall not mind it much," said Ruth quickly. "I'll have study and practice most of the time. Only now, when everyone is talking about it, it makes me wish I had some place to go." Carol quickly dropped Ruth's hand in the shock of a sudden idea. A stray girl passing through the hall called out, "Ruth, Miss Sittiver wishes to see you about something in room C." Ruth got up quickly. She was glad to get away, for it seemed that in another minute she would break down altogether. Carol Golden hardly noticed her departure. She gathered up her letters and went hurriedly to her room. Maud Russell was not in, and Carol was glad. She wanted to be alone and fight down that sudden idea. "It's ridiculous to think of it," she said aloud, with a petulance very unusual in Golden Carol. Her disposition was as sunny as her looks. "Why, I simply cannot. I've always been longing to ask Maud to visit me, and now that the chance has come, I'm not going to throw it away. I'm very sorry for Ruth, of course. It must be dreadful to be all alone like that. But it isn't my fault. And she's so fearfully quiet and dowdy. What would they think of her at home? Frank and Jack would make such fun of her. I shall ask Maud as soon as she comes in." Maud did come in presently, but Carol did not give her the invitation. Instead, Carol was almost snappish to her, and the princess soon went out again in something of a huff. "Oh, dear," cried Carol. "Now I've offended her. What has gotten into me? What a disagreeable thing a conscience is. Although I'm sure I don't know why mine should be prodding me so. I don't want to invite Ruth Mannering home with me for the holidays, but I feel exactly as if God is calling me to do so, and I shall not have a minute's peace if I don't. Mother would think it all right, of course. She would not mind if Ruth dressed in calico and never said anything but yes or no. But how the boys would laugh. I simply won't do it, conscience or no conscience." In view of this decision, it was rather strange that the next morning, Carol Golden went down to Ruth Mannering's lonely little room on Corridor 2 and said, "Ruth, will you go home with me for the holidays? Mother wrote me to invite anyone I wished. Don't say you can't come, dear, because you must." Carol never, as long as she lived, forgot Ruth's face at that moment. "It was absolutely transfigured," she said afterwards. "I never saw anyone so happy in my life."
We hope you've been enjoying the story. We will continue in just a moment. We pause to discuss the sponsor for this episode. If your business isn't using key marketing tools, you could be missing out on valuable opportunities to grow. That's where Little Mountain Printing comes in. They offer powerful marketing solutions like postcard mailers and websites to attract new customers, brochures to showcase your products or services, and promotional products to show appreciation to clients. With the right marketing in place, your business has the best chance to thrive. Get started today by calling Little Mountain Printing at 717-933-8091 or visit them online at littlemountainprinting.com. Now let's return and finish the story.
Two weeks later, unwanted silence reigned at Oaklawn. The girls were scattered far and wide, and likewise Ruth and Carol had traveled to Carol's home. Carol was a very much surprised girl. Under the influence of kindness and pleasure, Ruth seemed transformed into a different person. Her shyness and reserve melted away in the sunny atmosphere of the Golden home. Mrs. Golden took her into her motherly heart at once. As for Frank and Jack, whose verdict Carol had so dreaded, they voted Ruth splendid. She certainly got along very well with them, and if she did not make the social sensation that pretty Maud Russell might have made, the Goldens all liked her, so Carol was content. "Just 4 days more," sighed Carol one afternoon, "and then we must go back to Oaklawn. Can you realize it, Ruth?" Ruth looked up from her book with a smile. Even in appearance she had changed. There was a faint pink in her cheeks and a merry light in her eyes. "I shall not be sorry to go back to work," she said. "I feel like it because I have had so pleasant a time here that it has heartened me up for the next term. I think it will be very different from last term. I begin to see that I kept too much to myself and brooded over fancied slights." "And then you are to room with me, since Maud is not coming back," said Carol. "What fun we shall have! Did you ever roast marshmallows over the gas?" "Why, I declare, there's Mr. Swift coming up the walk. Look, Ruth, he's the richest man in Wesley." Ruth peeped out of the window over Carol's shoulder. "He reminds me of someone," she said absently, "but I can't think of who it is. Of course, I've never seen him before. What a good face he has." "He is as good as he looks," said Carol enthusiastically. "Next to Father, Mr. Swift is the nicest man in the world. I've always been quite a pet of his. His wife is dead, and so is his only daughter. She was a lovely girl and died only 2 years ago. It nearly broke Mr. Swift's heart. He has lived alone ever since in that big house up at the head of Warner Street, the one you admired the last time we were uptown. There's the bell for the second time. Mary can't have heard it. I'll go myself." As Carol showed the caller into the room, Ruth rose to leave and thus came face to face with him. "Mr. Swift, this is my school friend, Miss Mannering," said Carol. Mr. Swift seemed strangely agitated as he took Ruth's timidly offered hand.
"My dear young lady," he said hurriedly, "I'm going to ask you what may seem a very strange question. What was your mother's name?"
"Agnes Hastings," answered Ruth in surprise. And then Carol really thought that Mr. Swift had gone crazy, for he drew Ruth into his arms and kissed her.
"I knew it,"
he said.
"I was sure that you were Agnes's daughter, for you are the living image of what she was when I last saw her. Child, you don't know me, but I'm your Uncle Robert. Your mother was my half-sister."
"Oh, Mr. Swift!" cried Carol, and she ran for her mother. Ruth turned pale and dropped into a chair. Mr. Smith sat down beside her.
"To think I've found you at last, child. How puzzled you look. Did your mother never speak of me? How is she? Where is she?"
"Mother died last year," said Ruth.
"Poor Agnes, I never knew. Don't cry, little girl, tell me all about it. She was much younger than I when our mother died. My stepfather went away and took her with him. I remained with my father's people and eventually lost all trace of my sister. I was a poor boy then, but things have looked up with me, and I've often tried to find her."
By this time, Carol had returned with her father and mother, and there was a scene, laughing, crying, explaining. I don't know which of the two girls was the more excited, Carol or Ruth. As for Mr. Swift, he was overjoyed to find his niece and wanted to carry her off with him then and there. But Mrs. Golden insisted on her finishing her visit. When the question of returning to Oaklawn came up, Mr. Swift would not hear of it at first, but finally yielded to Carol's entreaties and Ruth's own desires. "I shall graduate next year, Uncle, and then I can come back to you for good." That evening, when Ruth was alone in her room, she tried to collect her thoughts and realize that the home and love she so craved were really to be hers at last. Carol Golden was with her mother in the room below, talking it all over. "Just think, Mother, if I had not asked Ruth to come here, this would not have happened. I didn't want to ask her. I wanted to ask Maud so much. I was dreadfully disappointed when I couldn't, for I really couldn't. I could not help remembering the look in Ruth's eyes when she said she had no home to go to. So I asked her instead of Maud. How wonderfully happy I am that I listened to God's prodding." The end.
We hope you enjoyed this story and will join us again soon when we unravel another adventure from the pages of The Fish Wrapper. We want to remind you that The Fish Wrapper is available by subscription. Each issue of The Fish Wrapper is jam-packed with story content, amazing recipes, games, jokes, and much, much more. Our readers never want to miss an issue, and you can order yours today by visiting thefishwrapperonline.com or by calling 717-400-FISH. That number again is 717-400-FISH. We encourage you to like and subscribe to this podcast, ensuring that you never miss a new episode. See you again soon, and may our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ guide you.